On today's show, we have our guest, David Goh, and we're going to be talking about why do the Orthodox have so much artwork in their churches? Like, why do they need icons? From a Protestant perspective, I mean, you have the Bible and you have a cross in your church. Is that not good enough? Like, why do the Orthodox insist on having so many icons? What's the purpose of an icon? David Goh?
We've had several periods in the history of Christian culture where we have seen iconoclasm arise. One of them occurs back in the early development of the church, the 7th century, 8th century, where this question was central. And where, of course, the biblical quotation that was used from the Decalogue, from the commandment, it is in a sense, it's the meta-commandment. Thou shalt not have graven images.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt have no other God before me. Thou shalt not have graven images. Thou should not have images.
But the Ark of the Covenant had angels on top of it. Solomon's Temple had artwork in it as well.
So then the question is, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
The human being has a great capacity for beauty and a great capacity for image. The word icon is simply the Greek word for image. And this goes back, of course, to Genesis, to the very creation story, where we read, and God made man, male and female created he them in his icon and likeness, in his image and likeness. So God is the great icon maker, because God made the world. And from our perspective, the world is an icon. The world also images the love of God. Iconoclasts, people that take exception to images, have a good impulse, because that's the impulse which says it's dangerous to have images of God. The critique of the iconographic tradition of Orthodoxy from that perspective is simply a misunderstanding. It's a misunderstanding which perhaps some Orthodox people have as well, for all I know. So when we enter an Orthodox church, we enter to worship God. And the Christian revelation has taught us that God's grace has been present in the lives of many human beings in the world. We see it in the apostles, the disciples. We see God's grace in many people in the Hebrew Bible. So in the Eastern Christian understanding, the temple, the place of the presence of God, God is present everywhere, of course, but also is in an iconic way present in the temple. We bring all of our friends there. So a properly painted Byzantine temple, when you enter, you will see on your left-hand side, from the very top to the very bottom, images of women saints. On the right-hand side, you will see images of men saints. They will include kings and queens. They will include medical doctors, lawyers. They will include military figures. They will include monks and lay people. They will include a few prostitutes and bakers. And from an Orthodox perspective, we have gathered them because we pray with them. We do not simply pray out of our own heart. We pray with the whole gathered kingdom of God. We pray with all of them. The second thing about icons that is so striking to me is that the icons of the saints, or the icons of Jesus Christ and of the Holy Theotokos, the Virgin Mary, that these icons, of course, are images which remind us of a story. They remind us of their life, because life is a story. And I noticed when I first went to Orthodox churches and was paying attention to how people behaved when they would come in, they would go to the icon stand, make the sign of the cross, often pause, and sometimes would have tears in their eyes, and would bow their head and would kiss the image, maybe light a candle, linger longer. It's obvious that they were praying. They were praying. And often when you see the icon of a particular saint, which reminds you of a particular story, which reminds you of a particular struggle that that person had, and here you are. That is your struggle today. Your struggle and this woman's struggle, this saint's struggle, this male saint's struggle, this female saint's struggle, is your struggle. There's solidarity there. And it makes it possible for you to speak your struggle and to hold your struggle up before the throne of God's grace. And to say, because we only pray to God, but we also invoke the saints. We invoke those that have had that struggle too. And we say, come with me with my struggle. Help me with my struggle. That's a beautiful thing. It's a great form of psychotherapy. Why is it that so many Protestants go to counselors and psychotherapists? Well, maybe it's because they don't have icons. Maybe it's because they don't have so many saints with which they can enter into solidarity with. So my sense is that the iconographic tradition is all about spiritual healing. And it is about deepening our understanding that there are many that have gone before us that have also had the struggles we have. So we can live in hope because their lives were touched by God's grace. And we ask that God touch our life and our suffering with that grace as well.
Is this the reason we ask the saints to pray on our behalf, or for Mary to pray on our behalf?
With us.
With us.
With
Okay.
us. Yes.
So it's like the saints, it's in the room with us.
Right.
I could pray to God.
Of course.
But your life, I can ask you to pray to God with me.
Right.
Or
And then we're doing that with Chrysostom, and we're doing that with the Theotokos,
Really?
because they aren't dead.
Okay.
They are present in the presence of God's kingdom. That's why we pray with them. We all pray together. Not only them, but in fact all of nature does that. The cosmos, as we read in the Psalms, is rising up in praise of God. So this is the human part of that story. So to make it even more concrete, I often think, I don't go to bars all that often, but I wish we had a really good neighborhood pub, but then I would like to go. But I've often, the few times I've been in bars, I have often noticed that people will be sitting, leaning over their beer, talking to the bartender. And there are often times when the bartender hears things that that person has never said to anybody else.
That's true.
In
That's
a
so
sense,
true.
In a sense, the bartender, or on a plane at 35,000 feet in the air, people will say things to who's sitting next to them that they wouldn't normally say to anybody else.
Yeah,
So
that's
what we're witnessing here is the longing of the human heart for solidarity and for the occasion to speak what is hidden and not spoken. So the disciplines of the church reflect that. And the saints invite us, speak to us, say, my story echoes your story. Let's sing together about the grace of God that heals all of this. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So for Protestants, they may have a few pious religious paintings around, but they also, if they're blessed, will have good friends. If they're blessed, they may have a mother or father, a brother or sister, who they can share their heart with. Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And when a family takes out the photograph album and looks at the grandparents, or if they're fortunate, the great-grandparents, what are they looking at? They're looking at an image. They're looking at an icon. And why is it treasured by them? It's treasured by them because it's part of their story. It's treasured by them because it's their inheritance. It's part of their spiritual inheritance. And when we go into the temple, or when we stand before our icon corner, we are in the presence of our inheritance. We are in the presence of our spiritual ancestors who are alive with us in our mind and in our heart, and who also, because they are in grace, they are also longing for our healing and for our coming into the state of sanctity as well. Nobody is really an iconoclast. It's just a question of where their icons are and
good argument.
and what the stories are associated with it. We have an extraordinary rich body of stories and of presences.